Okay, we're live.
Hi, everybody.
We did it, man. We successfully went live. It's kind of funny because I was thinking about this earlier. I was talking about getting a computer like 10 years ago. You remember whenever I got rid of uh, what was it?
Yeah.
Life Force.
Yeah, dude.
God bless.
That was one of the inspirations where I made my video about you.
Yeah, yeah. I remember that. Somebody was like, "Hey, man, you've made it." Blues from the Basement made a parody of you. Know what? All right, guys. So listen, here we are. This is my good. You guys know Craig. We are going to be doing our top 10 favorite Scream Factory Collector's Edition videos or releases, and I thought there's no better person to have in this than Craig. Craig is definitely the one of the people that kept me up with Scream Factory. Craig always lets me know what's coming out, so I thought no better person to do this with. What's up, Ragnarok? What's up, Jose?
Hey,
So,
guys.
did you have any like criteria for how you pick these?
It really, artwork was a play in picking between a 4K and a Blu-ray of some of the releases. Even though I always choose the 4K mostly over a Blu-ray just for the transfer wise. But there's a couple where I actually picked the Blu-ray over it because of the artwork.
Right.
But my overall picks for these releases, it's movies that I grew up loving. It's movies that have always stuck with me. It's a movie that I can always pick off my shelf and watch. And so, yeah, that's how I kind of went with mine.
It's pretty much the same. There was a couple instances where I may have put a movie that I liked technically lease a little bit lower just because another release had better special features or better transfer. But yeah, I didn't technically go by what had the best, transfers and stuff. I went by stuff I grew up with, ones I was the most excited about, and artwork, like you said. Honestly, if I had the Blu-ray counterparts for most of these would have been Blu-ray.
Sure, I agree.
So, this is all-time favorite Scream Factory. Right? Yes, that's correct. We're doing our favorite collector's edition. So obviously, you're not going to see
the box
sets, which would, I'm pretty sure Friday the 13th will be in both of ours. The Halloween set would be in both of ours.
That'd be our number one.
Yeah, right.
That's the number one.
Yeah, so you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Sure, I'll start it off.
All
right. So it really only came down to my top three being the actual 3, 2, and 1. The rest, the other 7, you can put anywhere in this list, and it's okay. But I am starting off with a banger, though. This is one that we were waiting years to get a Blu-ray release. It had a Blu-ray in the UK for the longest time, and for some reason, the rights for this one we just couldn't get in the US. And in 2018, during those Scream Factory announcements at Comic-Con, they announced this Holy Grail. Remember when they used to do the announcements every Comic-Con? It was a big deal.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So 2018 was an awesome year because they came out with I don't know how many, 25 titles that year for the whole year of those announcements.
Right.
And this was the last one they announced. And it's a 90s. I guess you could call this a slasher. It's a supernatural slasher. And it's early 90s. It's really disturbing. And that is Clive Barker's Candyman. This is one of those movies to this day, no matter how old I get or just how much time has passed, this movie disturbed me so much. Just the way that Tony Todd's voice and the way he's portrayed in the movie and the eerie music that goes along with it and just the gore and just the dread and oh my God, the effect this left on me as a kid, yeah, it's still with me today.
Yeah.
So we did get this on, this is the 4K release though. This isn't the Blu-ray, but this uses the theatrical artwork, of course. But I will say about this, Arrow put this out around the same time that Scream Factory did. It was Arrow was a week before Scream Factory, and Arrow's release kicked this one's ass. Unfortunately, Arrow's release was a lot better. But yeah, this is a fantastic. Would you call this a slasher? I would. I think it's a slasher.
Yeah, definitely. Especially especially the sequels. But yeah, that's definitely like a supernatural slasher. He was the scariest of all of the slashers.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. And because I grew up when Candyman was like an actual, like people went in the bathroom and did that. and would like fake cut themselves and be like, "Oh, look what happened." So yeah, Candyman terrified me when I was a kid.
Yeah, so like I said, it's one that I'm always gonna be happy to have in the collection. I'm so grateful that Scream Factory did it. And yeah, that's my number 10, Candyman.
Great
And by the
choice.
way, the special features on this are loaded. I don't know if you can
Yeah,
see the back there, but this is a loaded release. I don't know
it's
how much
also.
I don't know how much it
Go
differs
ahead.
from the Arrow release, but it's loaded.
It's also important to note that we don't know what each other picked. Like I literally just sent him the email 10 minutes ago, so I have no clue what his top 10 are. He has no idea what my top 10 are. Um, and that's not in mine, believe it or not. That would have been like my number 11 or 12. There was a couple that got left out just because of nostalgia purposes, but I love that release. Ragnarok says, "Be my victim." Clearly, that's one of the best one-liners.
Oh
Tess
yeah.
says, I think Arrow always does a better job in such a classic movie, Candyman. I agree. So this one, this one played a huge part in my childhood. I think that as far as like Blu-ray releases, there probably wasn't one I was more excited about. And if you go back and watch our Scarefest 2016 video, I actually bought the bootleg version of Tales from the Hood. Um, I actually, this is the second, uh, this is the second, what are they called? A creep show. It's I lost my train of thought. The, where it's like four stories. It's
It's an anthology.
yeah, this is the second anthology film I ever watched, and the way they wrapped this all up at the end was just, I think, still one of the best. Makes it one of the best anthology films that there is. The reason that this one, actually, when I started making this list, I kind of thought this would probably be in my top five. It is just because there is a lack of bonus features in this, as you can see here, like as compared to like what Craig just showed with the Candyman release. But Tales from the Hood, man, I think that this is like peak like artwork for Screen Factory.
Oh yeah.
Uh, pretty solid transfer. And as far as like a single release goes, this is definitely in my top five favorite like announcements that they made when this was coming out. Because like I said, I had a bootleg copy of this for years. This and Demon Wind. So really happy that this got a Blu-ray. I'm hoping that it gets a 4K. I hope that when they do do a 4K. I hope that there's an option to get like alternate artwork or something, because I really, 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 I think this is, if I was to do a top 10 artwork for Screen Factory, this would be in it. So yeah, I love this one.
Yeah.
Tell us from the Hood.
That was one of the original posters that always stuck out to me in the video store as a kid. The skull with the gray background and the gold tooth.
Right. Yeah.
I'm like, what is this movie?
And you know
So,
what? That would be a really cool if they decided to stick with just the artwork from the. I agree, it's an awesome cover, but just like emboss the skull where it's like the skull is silver. That would be a cool
absolutely.
little thing. Let's see. I'm trying to catch up. I watched it on HBO when I was a kid. I think that's where I watched it too. Hey gents, sorry a bit late. Have you done your top 10? No, we're on Craig's number 9. Craig's number 10 was Candyman, and my number 10. Craig's number 10 was the Candyman 4K, and my number 10 was Tales from the Hood on Blu-ray. So
Awesome. All right, number 9. Here we go. So, a lot of people in the Blu-ray slash YouTube community got sick of me telling people to watch this movie. I was always bugging Scream Factory, Arrow, Vinegar Syndrome, all the boutique labels. I would reach out and say, "Can you please do this movie?" They're like, "Well, it's with Warner Brothers, and they don't have the rights. We don't have the rights to Warner Brothers." That's like when I would ask the Vinegar Syndrome guys at conventions. They're like, "Yeah, it's with Warner Brothers. We can't do it." And I'm like, "Wow, this is before Scream Factory ever got to deal with Warner Brothers too." I'm like, "Oh, so no one's ever going to get this unless Warner Archive does it." This is an early slasher from 1982. And the reason I found out about this movie, I bought this book from Barnes and Noble years ago when I was a kid called 100 Slasher Movies You've Never, or 100 Horror Movies You've Never Seen Before. So I'm flipping through the book and I see this one picture of a killer in a hockey mask. I'm like, well, this isn't Friday the 13th. I'm like, what the hell is this? So I started reading up on it and I'm like, this sounds awesome. It kind of sounds similar to Halloween, but with 4 killers instead of 1. And this release is Alone in the Dark. So yeah, this is my holy grail. At one time, I was begging and begging for them to put this out. And the fact that I even got a collector's edition was awesome. I couldn't believe it. I was so shocked. And it's kind of lacking on the special features. I mean, there's not much they could have done with this. Most of the talent has moved on, or didn't want to talk, or they've passed away. But very different for a slasher movie. I mean, four escaped four escaped killers during a blackout, terrorized the home of the doctor. So it almost has the feel of like a Strangers movie, where it's like a home invasion type movie. But at the end of the day, it's a slasher. If you
Yeah.
remember the poster, I'll show the poster on this. And actually, I keep all my slipcovers wrapped because I'm like crazy about dustware. So
Right.
this is the poster you'll probably remember seeing in the video store. So I saw this in the video store as a kid, and I'm like, I remember seeing it, watching the movie, and then seeing the poster. I'm like, that didn't do what the poster had. The poster made it look like a backwoods slasher.
Right.
It's nothing like that.
No.
It's just they escaped the asylum and terrorized the doctor at their house. So, but yeah, it kind of gives you that feeling of like unsettledness because you don't know when they're going to attack next. If they're going to come out from somewhere from the house, if they're going to come from the windows, if they're going to come from the attic, where they're coming from, if they're even in the house. So it kind of gives you a little bit of paranoia. But each one of the killers has like their own personality and the reason why that they were in the asylum. One was like a crazy pastor who used to burn down churches with people in them. The other guy was a really disturbed POW. The third guy was like a 400-pound child person. You know what I'm talking about. I don't want to say the word, but
Right.
yeah, we just call it a kid killer, pretty much.
Yeah.
The original what Freddy Krueger was supposed to be.
A fat Freddy.
Yeah, pretty much a fat Freddy. And then the fourth guy was the guy that wears the hockey mask. The fourth guy, he never shows his face in the beginning of the movie. He's always hiding it. Anytime you see the four killers on screen, he's always hiding his face. And then once they break out and they start going through the riots and they break into the store and steal all the weapons, first thing he steals is the hockey mask so he can conceal his identity. But there's a nice twist at the end of the movie that you'll probably see coming as soon as you realize what's going on. You're like, oh, that's him. So, but yeah, really cool movie from the 80s, 1982. And Donald Pleasance, again, plays a psychiatrist.
Right.
So, but like a more loony, more loony psychiatrist.
I would have never known about that movie if not for you. I mean, when we first started talking, you were, talking about Alone in the Dark. I think you a lot of the people in the movie community would have never known about it if not for you, because you were always talking about how great it was. And there's some people in the chat that haven't seen it. It's super cheap on Amazon. You're probably not going to get it with the slipcover, but it's highly recommended. It's a great pickup.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a really good one. Alrighty. So my number 9, I mean, that's hard to follow that, but my number 9 is Sleepaway Camp 2. Now, again,
yes, good one.
There's not a lot of bonus features on this one. But who cares? Listen, I grew of all the movies I'm about to show you, this is the one that I learned the most from. We'll just say I rented this at a very tender age, and I learned a lot from this movie. And again, similar to what you just said, the artwork on this is very deceiving, because when I rented the VHS, it looked like this. So right away, you can see the Jason mask and the Freddy claws. So I had just assumed that this was some sort of I was a big comic book fan, so I thought this was going to be some sort of crossover. I had never seen the first Sleepaway Camp. I had no clue that it was about, I mean, obviously I figured it was about a camp, but it was very misleading. And I remember when the movie first started, me and my friend were both kind of bummed about it, the way that it went. But as time went on, man, I have always championed this movie. I think Sleepaway Camp, I like Sleepaway Camp 2 better than the original. So much more fun. I mean, so much more rewatchable. You get Angela in part 2, and I have part 3 as well, but I think part 2 is the standout of the two.
Oh yeah.
So many iconic kills in this. The outhouse kill has always stood out to me. I mean, that one is one that I remember right up there with Welcome to Primetime, bitch. I don't know why that one stuck with me. This was probably my first ever horror movie that I saw that I don't want to say was bad, but it was kind of campy and kind of the practical effects were kind of wonky. But nonetheless, love this one. I actually paid extra to get the alternate artwork because I thought the artwork on 2 and 3 or on the Blu-ray were so great. So yeah, Sleepaway Camp, One of my faves. I had to put that in there.
Great choice. Great choice. Um, this next one, I mean, this could be in anyone's top three, and but for me, I still have a few movies that I enjoy more than this. But this is a '90s movie that I grew up watching. Actually, the first time I saw it was with my parents. We were just watching it on HBO one night, and it was a weird movie because it had comedy elements, but it scared the crap out of me too. Because I've seen a TV show version of this, and it was like, this isn't as scary as the show. This is actually pretty frightening.
Right.
And it's one of those movies that I've been asking for, like, since this came out on Blu-ray. I'm like, we got to get a 4K of this. This movie looks so good in 4K. Came out in 1995, and that is Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight.
Oh,
Look at that
yes.
artwork. And I
Great
actually did a
choice.
little, case surgery on this one. I'm going to show you this in a second. I went kind of color case crazy a month ago, and I bought some color cases to kind of go with these releases. So I got a
Oh
green
man,
case
that's
for
sick.
this one. Yep. So yeah, this is one of those movies that it's almost like an anthology. It's not really an anthology, I wouldn't say. It's got its own singular story, but it's based off the Tales from the Crypt TV show, which is an anthology series. So this is
Right.
just like a big extended episode, but rated R. Um, William Sadler plays the guy that's kind of on the run from Billy Zane. You remember Billy Zane's character? He plays the he plays the demon knight. Yeah.
Yeah.
What did they call Billy Zane in the movie? He had a certain name. He wasn't the collector. Was he the collector?
Oh,
Hang on.
I don't remember.
Yeah, he's the demonic collector. They call him the collector.
Right.
Yeah. But Billy Zane, I mean, like, this movie was like a breakout role for him. And then I've heard rumors that he was so good in this is the reason that he got Titanic.
That's
Because he
so
was such a
odd to
standout in
say.
the movie.
That he did so good in Demon
Yeah.
Knight, the movie that nobody watched. Let me cast you in the biggest film of all time, Titanic.
I know. But he's got that personality where, like, he can be sinister one minute, and then he's a charming guy the next, and then he's funny, and then he's scary. It's just like, oh my God. But like, just what he did in this movie, like, he's the standout of the movie. You can't
Right.
take your eyes off his character every time he's on screen. Jada Pinkett is also in the movie, and basically, like, they're all locked in this big mansion for like a night while William Sadler makes his way into the house, and he has to like lock himself in there because Billy Zane's after him. But Billy Zane, of course, he being the collector, literally sicks a bunch of demons on these people. So it's just them throughout the night trying to battle off these demons and stay alive, without getting manipulated by the collector. Because he's also a manipulator too. He
Right.
could look at your eyes and like he could just change you. He could just change you into like doing something you don't want to do. But yeah, really cool movie. I love the practical gore effects in this too. Such
Yeah.
a fun. And the one thing I always remember about this movie, it always sticks with me. The first time I ever saw it as a kid, I wouldn't say it was a jump scare, but it like surprised me. He's telling who's the actor's name that played Sandman, Spider-Man 3? Hayden Christensen or Hayden
Oh.
something? Thomas Hayden
Yeah.
Church.
Yeah.
Yeah, that actor's in
believe
the
so.
movie. And he's trying to manipulate him. And he's like, hey, if you clean up this Jesus blood,
Yeah.
we'll let you live. And he goes, really? Okay. And then Billy Zane looks at him, and all of a sudden he opens his mouth and a sponge comes out like a tongue. I'm like, whoa. That's like the
Yeah.
one thing I always remember about that part.
It's dude.
But,
That's one of my favorite movies. I mean, I remember going and seeing that in theaters, and I always thought it was like a comic book because, the element of, like you just said, with the Jesus blood, that he has that vial that he carries, and it keeps the demons from crossing the border. But the thing that was so cool about that was it was like I guess so often they had a new person that was charged with that horrible, like, they had to keep this demon at bay their whole life, and then it passed on from person to person. And
Yep.
the soundtrack for that, dude, as soon as it opens up, you get an awesome chase with Filter, Hey Man, Nice Shot playing. Just an awesome movie. Again, man, that's a great pick.
yeah, and it's one that I hope we get a 4K.
Yeah.
It's very well deserving. And it also came out at the same time with Scream Factory. They did this and they did Bordello of Blood together.
Yes.
So that's another fun one. But Demon Knight tops that one all day.
Yeah, I remember walking into Hastings, which Demon Knight's not in my top 10, surprisingly, because it's one of my favorites of all time. But I remember walking into Hastings the day those both came out, and they were $36.99 a piece, and I bought them instantly. I didn't even think about it. Bordello, I just recently got back. I rewatched. I do prefer Demon Night of the two. I think the
Oh yeah,
soundtrack's better and
way
it's a
better
lot more
movie.
fun. But let's see here. Culture Trinity said, "Did somebody say Screen Factory?" We did indeed, my friend. Good to see you.
Hey, Trini.
The green case is cool. Yeah, Craig has done that with a lot of cases. It's really cool. You can do the green one for Demon Night, the pink one for the Blob, the orange one for Trick or Treat. I had the orange one for Trick or Treat years ago. Let's see. The design with the green case looks awesome. It does. 4K Tent Revival says, "What's up, guys? What's up, man?" And Movie
Yo.
Geek says, "Howdy." All right. My number 8. I'm just saying. What more can you say? Pumpkinhead.
No,
The
classic.
The very first Screen Factory Blu-ray I ever purchased was Pumpkinhead. I have said this many times. I traded in all of my DVDs to Hastings in like 4 different trips. This was the first trip that I took, and this is the first one that I picked up. I went home and watched it. I was blown away with it. The first time I watched this, I was at my cousin's house, and I was probably like 6. And I remember running in the living room and watching this, and then running back in their room and watching TGIF, which was an old program back in the day that had like Full House and Family Matters. And I would go watch Full House and then run back in the back and watch Pumpkinhead. Because to this day, this movie still gives me the creeps. I think because I watched it at such a tender age. But one of the dopest one-liners ever, whenever he's made the deal with the witch, and he's going off and he's saying, God damn you. And she just looks at the camera and goes, he already has, son. I mean, that's just the dopest one-liner ever. Awesome concept. So simple. You know, Pumpkinhead is like this movie's got more elements than just horror. It starts off, super sad.
Yep.
It's a really cool take on a revenge movie, and they've twisted this dark fairy tale into it where Pumpkinhead is this like bear or this beacon that he comes and pays the price for revenge, but you end up paying it at the end. I always thought that was cool how you kind of you spoiler alert, you kind of become Pumpkinhead after you've used them. Super really fun movie and a great pickup. I mean, of all the ones we're showing you, I highly recommend. This is a great Halloween watch. This has got some really cool visuals. This is directed by Stan Winston, the same guy who did all the practical effects on Jurassic Park. Yep. So this is an easy watch, fun one. So if you've not seen Pumpkinhead, it's number 8 for me. I thought it would be higher up on the list, but you'll see why it's not here in a minute. So Pumpkinhead for me, number 8.
Great pick.
Thank you, sir.
Number 7. This was a movie that, it had a Blu-ray from Olive Films for a while, but that Blu-ray didn't have any features, unfortunately. But it had a really nice slipcover that I've been trying to get from Culture Trini for years. Not years, probably a couple of months. I kept bugging Culture Trini, hey, if you want to sell that slip, let me know. I'll gladly buy it from you. This is a movie that came out in 1996. It is a Stephen King story, and that is Thinner.
Great pick.
This is definitely like in my top 5 Stephen King stories. Pretty simple. I mean, a guy gets cursed, a big fat guy gets cursed, and his curse is to keep losing weight until he pretty much withers away to nothing. That's the curse if he doesn't break the curse. But yeah, basically, if you look at the character on the back, you see the guy with the red bib around his neck. He ends up hitting a gypsy, and he gets away with it. Like the judge and the cop were on his side. Like they kind of covered the murder. It was basically a manslaughter. And the judge and the cop that are friends with him covered it up. And they know right away it's a cover up. So the old gypsy puts a curse on all 3 of them. They all get a different curse, but his is to be thinner.
Yeah.
And throughout the movie, you just notice him starting to lose so much weight. He's getting his confidence back. Then he starts to realize, like, like could this be cancer? Like his family's starting to get concerned about him. And then it starts to really take a scary turn when you see what happens to the other 2 guys. Because the other guy I think it was the cop, got turned into a lizard. Like he made him get all scaly and stuff. And then the other guy had like really weird like bumps and like his face was all like I don't remember what his curse was. But yeah, he looked like a monster, that guy. But yeah, just him trying to like find a way to beat this curse in order to not die from just being just being cursed like that. Yeah, it's a cool movie from start to finish.
With a mean ending.
Oh, the ending is something that'll stick with you.
It's so mean, yeah.
Basically, like it involves a pie. pie and
Mm-hmm.
some blood in
Yeah.
order to break the curse. But he has to pass the curse on to somebody else, and I'm not going to say who he passes it on to, but it leaves you with that. No, it just leaves you with that. Oh my God, why?
It's got a
So
very drag me to hell ending.
yes,
Like a very like I like mean ending movies, and that's got one.
yep. But this movie's it's very easy to watch. I mean, it's like 90
Yeah.
minutes. It's like just a quick watch, and you know, if you're a big dude, you can understand this movie because he portrays a
Yeah.
fat person pretty well.
4K Tit Revival says I need to find that gypsy myself.
I've been trying to find him for decades, but
Jose says never heard of that movie, dude. Gotta get thinner, man.
yeah.
It's actually the only reason it didn't make my list is because I was hoping it would be a 4K because it was one of the ending. That was like the toward the end of like Scream Factory putting out good collector's editions.
Yeah, the thing is, they were doing 4K for a couple years at this point, and
Yeah,
this was a surprise being Blu-ray only because they got it from Olive Films or Paramount, but to not get a 4K of this, I was very surprised. Maybe they couldn't afford a 4K. Maybe it was just like maybe it won't sell as much as the other ones. I don't know um, why they couldn't get it. I was like, oh, maybe
uh,
Arrow has the 4K rights or something. I have no idea, but hopefully down the
Kino.
line, yeah, Kino, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. Yeah, but yeah, Thinner.
let's see. Kim says I still need to watch Thinner. Oh man, yeah, Thinner's a great watch. This is the best time of year to be a horror fan too because we're getting ready to get into Halloween. Like our houses are decorated for Halloween, but like this is a great. All these pickups, these are all solid choices. So if you haven't seen any of these, let me get to some of these comments real fast. Hit the nail on the head. Great double feature with Drag Me to Hell. I love Drag Me to Hell. It's on. I think Drag Me to Hell is a little more, I would say, like metal, if that makes sense. It's a little darker, a little more gory. But they both had that same ending where you kind of like your jaw drops. It's kind of like, oh man. Let's see. Paramount is going their own 4K. Rumored that. Listen, Paramount. We would love to see Friday the 13th, 1 through 8 in some sort of collection. And then Test with Halloween starts July 5th. Alrighty. My number 7. Again, this is one of those few times where I think the Blu-ray was a little bit better than the 4K in terms of presentation. The very first anthology film I've ever seen. I have so much stuff for this over the years, and I'm talking about Creepshow. I love this release. I still prefer the Blu-ray release, but I got the 4K just because it's a slip and it matches. Great transfer. This is, some of the Screen Factory 4Ks have had some questionable transfers. This was not one of them for me. I think this stands up there with like Alligator and Chucky or Child's Play 2 as some of the better transfers. Great anthology film, super easy to watch. Creepshow is, my favorite anthology film of all time. And again, this is one that I spent a little bit extra on to get the alternate slipcover just to get the newer artwork. But yeah, I had to put Creepshow in. I don't have the Blu-ray box set anymore, which I still prefer that. I think that the only two I can think of that are like her 3 is the Nightbreed, Creepshow, and now the Day of the Dead 4K. Is that right? Where they actually did boxes.
Nightbreed, Creepshow. Oh, and then what's the other one that got a box? Elvira's Haunted Hills. They kind of got a box like the Halloween. Yeah.
Right. So Creepshow, had to put that on the list. Love that one.
Good choice. I like when did George A. Romero direct that, right?
Yeah.
Romero? Yeah. But I like
And
when you get a collaboration with Stephen King as the writer and George Romero. Like same thing with like Christine, John Carpenter, Stephen King. That's all. I love when a duo does that.
And Stephen King plays Gordy Nelson on this one. It's one of the cooler stories too, where he touches like the asteroid and it turns him basically into like Swamp Thing. Yeah, it's so awesome. Yeah. It's really great. And again, a pretty mean movie, for it to be an 80s movie, with the dad at the beginning with Tom Atkins as the dad.
Tom Atkins, yeah,
love that one.
Yeah, good pick.
Thank you, sir.
All right. So if you're noticing a trend with my movies, I kind of stick with the 90s a lot. I'm a 90s kid. I was born in 1988 and grew up watching 90s movies pretty much. This is more of a sci-fi horror movie. Came out in 1998 in that post-modern Scream era of, with Dimension Films releasing a lot of movies and everything kind of had that Scream feel. This was directed by Robert Rodriguez, and that is The Faculty. So The Faculty is one of those movies that kind of reminds me of like a modern day version of The Thing, where you don't know who the alien is and you don't know who's going to be infected and don't know who to trust. So it kind of has that paranoia feeling as well. But I think Marco Beltrami did the music for this. I want to say he did. Marco Beltrami is the guy that did the music for Scream. He does all the composition for Scream. I think, yeah, it's him, Marco Beltrami. And Kevin Williamson from Scream wrote this.
Really?
He's the writer. Yeah, written by Kevin Williams, or screenplay, I should say. He did the screenplay, and then Robert Rodriguez directed this. But this is like one of the earliest appearances of Josh Hartnett. He filmed this and Halloween H2O back to back. If you notice, he got the same haircut
Yeah.
in both those movies. But yeah, it's like I said, it feels a lot like Scream, because I think a lot of movies at that time were trying to model like that teenage type of movie back then. It's got some cool practical effects with the aliens. It's got a really cool reveal of who the queen alien is, or queen, or like who the leader is. They're making you think that it's somebody. It could be a teacher, but maybe it's somebody else. But yeah, really cool. Like it's got some slasher elements too, of like the teachers trying to kill the students in the movie. So, and Robert Patrick, who plays the T-1000, he plays the football coach and the gym teacher in it. He does such a great job as an alien in this movie.
4K Tent Revival says, who did the practical monster at the end, Craig?
Who did the practical? It had to be Stan Winston, isn't it? Or it was either Stan Winston or it was Greg Nicotero.
Let me look it up.
I have to look.
I got you.
Oh, K&B Effects. Is that Greg
that's
Nicotero?
Yeah, that's Nicotero. I was the same people who do Walking Dead. Yeah.
Yeah, Nicotero. So, but yeah, really cool movie. Like I said, if you like The Thing, you'll end up liking The Faculty. So it's definitely got that type of vibe to it. Really cool movie. If you haven't seen The Faculty, this is one that was on my wish list for years for Scream Factory to getting them. Once Miramax sold their catalog to Paramount, and I'm like, oh, Scream Factory releases Paramount titles. I'm like, please let this be one of them. And yeah, they got it. And it's definitely a yearly watch for me. So yeah,
I love that one.
Faculty.
I had never actually seen that movie until the 4K came out from Scream Factory.
What'd you think of it?
Loved it.
Awesome.
Yep. Let's see here. All righty. So for me, what are we at? Number 6? Number 6 for me, my slipcover one got damaged, but I'm going to go with Return of the Living Dead. Absolutely great release. All kinds of bonus features on here. A really great documentary on here for this one. Again, one of Scream Factory's best transfers. It feels like Return of the Living Dead, the Blu-ray, was also one of their better releases that they did. Lots of bonus features. Just a fun watch. I will get the slipcover one back, but this steelbook is pretty cool because you get the this is the Amazon exclusive with the
they did 2 steelbooks for that.
Right. This is the one that's like the torso zombie at the end.
Yeah.
The girl. But Return of the Living Dead, what's there to say about it? I think when you think about like 80s horror movies, which is my favorite era of horror movies, this is one of the best horror comedies that I've seen. And I remember when I first watched it, I was such a huge fan of like the slow pacing zombies that Romero had done, and like Dawn and Night of the Living Dead. I didn't love this one. I didn't get it. But as I got older and I watched it, it's become one of my favorites. And yeah, Return of the Living Dead, I think, is one of their crowning achievements, especially the Blu-ray release. The Blu-ray release got 2 artworks. It went all out for it. The bonus features. They added, I can't remember the name of the documentary, but there's a documentary on here that's very good that they added. That was actually at one point in time like a standalone. You had to purchase it on its own. So Return of the Living Dead is one of Scream Factory's best. I love that one.
Great pick.
Thank you, sir.
Great pick. All right, on to number 5. So again, we're sticking with the 90s and that post-Scream era. This is a movie that is a part 4 in a franchise that got me into this franchise. It was the first one I've seen out of the whole franchise. And I was hooked immediately because I'd never seen the previous 3 at the time. And I've always seen like clips of certain movies, clips of certain like of the sequels on TV growing up. I'm like, I don't think I want to watch that. It doesn't look any good. But I sat down and watched this one start to finish with my cousins one night as soon as it came out on VHS. Anyone in the chat familiar with VHS? I would hope so. Yeah, we watched it on VHS, and it had some comedy elements, but it had some good gore too and some practical effects. And that is 1998's Bride of Chucky.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Um, I always thought Child's Play 2 was my favorite in the franchise, but as I gotten older, I think this tops two. I love Bride of Chucky. Like
So
this
good.
is this is peak Brad Dourif playing the character. You know, after like
Right.
Child's Play 3 came out in like 1991, and then this came out 7 years later, it's like he was like itching to play that character again. And the addition of Jennifer Tilly playing Tiffany, and you get a young Katherine Heigl in this too. You know,
John
it's like,
Ritter.
yep, John Ritter as the cop. But yeah, really cool movie. I mean, you find out a backstory about Tiffany, how she was like his long lost girlfriend, and they're like a pair of serial killers, you know. But it was cool to see like her counterpart come back as a doll just as well with him. And if you notice, if you ever seen the original artwork, I picked the alternate artwork for this. I just think it's a lot cooler.
It
But
is.
the original poster art for Bride of Chucky was a parody of Scream 2. If you ever
Yes.
seen the Scream 2 original poster, it's Child or Bride of Chucky's a parody of it. But yeah, man, this to this day, this will always be my favorite Chucky movie. It's because it's the first one I've ever watched. And one of the things I always remember about that movie is when they're in the motel and the people are getting down to dirty, and Tiffany comes in and throws throws the champagne bottle up,
Yeah.
and then all the glass comes down, and you see all the water, and it all turns to blood. It was so cool. Me,
Yeah.
me as like a 10-year-old kid, I'm like, this is the coolest movie I've ever seen.
Chucky, it's my favorite
Yeah.
look of Chucky too. I love
Oh
the way he
yeah.
looks in that. He
Yep.
looks like
Yeah.
Frankenstein, like
It's the
Frankenstein's
introduction of
monster.
the scars. Yep. So
Yeah.
that's definitely a favorite look for Chucky is me as well. So yeah, Bride of Chucky. That's my number 5.
4K Tent Revival says that's a great Valentine's Day watch. It is. It's also, I think that was the movie that introduced me to Rob Zombie. Turned me on to his music because that was on the sound. I was a big soundtrack kid. I knew horror movies always had great soundtracks, so I
Yeah.
used to buy them all. Bride of Chucky had awesome scenes in the movie. Always enjoyed watching. Yeah, I'm right there with Craig on that one. Child's Play 2 was my favorite. I think that Bride is definitely more fun. It sucks because I had all the alternate artworks, and like when the water came, like Bride of Chucky over was fine. Everything else was destroyed. So I still have the first 4 with the alternate slips, thank God. But
Mhm.
Bride of Chucky, man, is a great Halloween watch too.
I agree.
All righty, so here we go with my number 5. So this one was an easy one for me. I don't think that people talk about this one enough, the release and the movie. I think the sequels over time have kind of killed the aura for it. But I can tell you, like, my mom was super Pentecostal, didn't watch horror movies, but she knew what Jeepers Creepers was. This was a cultural phenomenon when this came out. I was a junior in high school when this came out. Everybody was talking about Jeepers Creepers. And I have said this as a fan of monsters, this is the best monster that has ever been in our generation. This movie is so simple, effective, and scary. The scene where they're driving by and it just shows him just chucking bodies down that chute is
Oh
just
yes.
so awesome, man. And I think that like this release now is very rare and like out of print because obviously the director's a scumbag, but it doesn't take away from the fact that this movie is a part of our, if you're a horror fan and you grew up, I was born in 84, so I was already kind of a seasoned horror guy by the time this one came out. Jeepers Creepers, so simple. It's basically a car ride. It's almost like Joyride with a monster and like a supernatural element to it. It has something that I always love in horror movies is when there's like a person that knows more, like like Donald Pleasance, Dr. Loomis in Halloween. To me, he made Michael scarier than Michael just telling you about him. And so this movie had that woman that had all the cats that knew about the monster and knew that he only came 27 years. And so it made him special. Like he wasn't a monster that was there all the time. He came every 27 years. He got what he needed to live. Or was it 23? 23, whatever, however many years it was. I think Pennywise was 27, but he only came every now and then. And just a cool design. He had the hat. He had the big, I know what you did last summer, duster. He had the cool weapons. That truck it's always a funny thing when people say, "How did he get a customized license plate?" But I love Jeepers Creepers. When they announced this, I mean, I was so stoked. I love the artwork, and it's my favorite Justin Long horror movie, and it's my favorite monster movie, even above the Universal monsters. I love Jeepers Creepers. Just a simple idea and executed perfectly at the time. It was new, it was fresh, and Scream, rightfully so, deserves a lot of praise for saving horror. But in the early 2000s, this one definitely gave it a shot of adrenaline when it was starting to kind of fade back down again. Jeepers Creepers was huge, and then obviously over time, because of the director, it's lost some of its whatever. And the movies, the third and fourth one aren't very good. But love Jeepers Creepers, and I had to put this on my list.
Great pick. I
Thank you, sir.
actually saw the second movie before the first one. I remember seeing the trailer for the second movie. I'm like, wow, this looks really good. I have to see the first one now. But I ended up seeing the second one in theaters with a couple people. And yeah, the second one was great. And then I went back and watched the first one. I'm like, wow, this is pretty scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
4K Tent Revival says, "Where does JC take place in Kansas?" It's somewhere flat. I think the reason that I liked it so much is it always kind of reminded me, a lot of the shots, it always reminded me of Texas. I always got Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibes from it. Like it was,
I could see that.
yeah, it had a very like hot, just desolate. If you've ever drove in Texas, there's hundreds and hundreds of miles of highway that you won't even see a car. So it was believable for me because I had drove to Texas at that point. So it was, yeah, it's somewhere west for sure.
Gotcha. All right, number 4. This is the only one on my stack that's not considered a collector's edition. It's actually called an anniversary edition. Even though deep down with the slipcover and the features, it's every bit of a collector's edition. It just happened to fall on the movie's anniversary. This is some really good 1980s cheese. It's got a lot of comedy elements into it. The title sounds so ridiculous.
Mhm.
And I love this movie and I'll watch it every year. There's so much merch out for it now with like Spirit Halloween and everywhere you go. And that is Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Yes, this is the 25th anniversary edition. And I actually did a little case surgery with this one. So I actually had to go on eBay and pick up the Mean Girls 4K just so I can get the pink case to throw on this this movie. How cool
That
does
looks
that look?
so good, dude.
Yep. So yeah, had to get that. And this is another one of those 4Ks that came with the alternate artwork as well. I prefer the actual regular poster art on this one. I just love that original VHS cover art. I remember seeing it in the video store. But yeah, this is directed by the Kyoto brothers. Yeah, they did all the practical effects for the clowns and everything. I really love how they're just aliens, but as
Yeah,
clowns.
right.
Their spaceship is a circus tent. You know, they trap people in cotton candy cocoons. They shoot popcorn at people. One of the gags in the movie I always remember is that they threw a bunch of pies at that security guard, and
Yeah.
the guy ends up melting from the pies. But yeah, I mean, the acting's kind of a little over the top in some of the scenes. I mean, you could tell when they were making this movie, they did not take it serious at all. It
Right.
wasn't meant to be a serious movie. It's almost like did Mystery Science Theater make fun of this movie at all? I don't know if they did, but this would be a perfect movie for them to do because I would watch that episode if they did. But
I love that movie, dude.
yeah,
Great choice.
it almost is a parody in itself of like alien invasion movies.
Right.
It almost feels like a parody. But yeah, just so many memorable scenes with the different clowns. I mean, you got the really tiny one named Shorty. You got the big one named Jumbo. You got
Right.
Stretch, who's the real tall one. You got Rudy, who's the main guy on the poster. Yeah, all these clowns have a different look, different personality, and different weapons that they use too. But yeah, I can't say enough about Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Great
I
pick,
love the
man.
movie. It puts me in a great mood, and I'm always down to watch it. So yeah, Killer Clowns.
Jose says, "I always enjoy watching Shorty knocking out the motorcycle people in the scene." Yeah.
What are you gonna do? Knock my block off?
I like the puppet, the shadow puppet that they do with the
Oh,
dinosaur.
the T-Rex turned
Yeah.
into yeah, that's funny.
Great choice, and you'll just stay tuned. So for me, my number, what is this? Number 4 for me. So honestly, I had to take a bunch of these movies out of my list because I ended up having like 4 of this franchise in my list. If you guys have been following my page for any amount of time, You know how much I love Halloween. It's my favorite franchise of all time. Halloween 1 is my favorite movie of all time. I got tons of stuff. And oddly enough, what made this one jump above the one that I had was the transfer. And it is one that's kind of controversial for some people. For me, I've never really got the hate for it, and that is Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. I mean, this is a really fun movie. Just a great movie. Arguably, aside from 1, the best soundtrack. I love spinning this vinyl at Halloween. I mean, when you think about how great Halloween 1 is, and for them, and then obviously did Halloween 2, and then to come with Halloween 3 with this whole new concept, and again, super mean movie. I like mean movies. This is aimed at kids, and honestly, I start watching Halloween movies, pretty much now, but I have like 4 that are reserved for those really late October 30th, 31st. This is a Halloween day watch for me. I hold it up there in the same regards as Trick or Treat and the original Halloween. The transfer on this is stunning. I am more of a slipcover guy, but I do like these hard case boxes. They are very sturdy, and I think now when you get it, it just comes with a slip, right? It doesn't come with a
Yeah, they started doing slips for like once the hard box is sold out.
right. So I'm pretty sure that you get the slips for these. I still see people picking these up on TikTok, and they still get the slips. Halloween 3, you get awesome performance from Tom Atkins. Again, these masks right here are so iconic. They've even found their way into the David Gordon Green trilogy of Halloween. So Halloween 3, I love all these releases. Again, I still prefer the Blu-ray box set as somebody who collected the DVDs, hunting these down for years. And then the Scream Factory to put them all in a big, nice set was awesome. But these 4Ks, they are worth the upgrade. I've seen these movies on every format imaginable, and this is the best this movie's ever looked, and also the best it's ever sounded. So Halloween 3 was a no-brainer for me.
Great pick. Well, Chris, I don't know how the hell I'm going to follow that because my next pick is Halloween 3. So everything you said was, pretty much, everything I want to say. I would say that this is definitely one of the best looking 4Ks I've ever watched. With it,
Yeah.
if you have the right equipment set up, it comes with one of those hard cases. Now, I was very close to picking the original Blu-ray release because that was one of the first 2 I ever bought. So the day I got in the Scream Factory, I bought Halloween 2 and 3 at the same time because it was Halloween 3's first ever Blu-ray release. Halloween 2 already had a Universal Blu-ray, but Scream Factory did Halloween 2 and 3 together. And I'm like, you know what? I kind of like that artwork. That's really cool. So I ended up buying it through them. That's what started the addiction all the way back in 2012. But over time, I mean, this movie grew on me so much that I place it in the top 2 of the Halloween franchise for me. It really is. Nothing to do with Michael Myers, but still just like a really cool. And it's actually one of the only movies, maybe one of the 2 movies, actually feels like Halloween.
Yes.
That actually feels like that's centered around the holiday of Halloween. Has everything to do with it. Really that one scene that really sticks with me is when they do something to that kid that puts the mask on. That always stuck with me as a kid. And I'm like, I can't believe they just did that. And the way that the dad's reacting, he's screaming and just like they're locked in that room and all the bugs and the snakes start coming out. Oh yeah. And everything that has to do with like the lore of, I guess you could say Connell Cochran's a warlock. Yeah, he's like an evil warlock. And everything that has to do with Stonehenge and all his like that monologue he gives. And just I like how they actually incorporated the Halloween score when he's saying to Dr. Chalice, Happy Halloween. And you hear the score of Halloween. That fits so well in that scene. But Alan Howarth and John Carpenter did the music for this together. And that just like you said, dude, the soundtrack of this is incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
So good.
When I first watched this, I almost forgot it was part of the Halloween franchise. I remember watching it on the Sci-Fi Channel when I was a kid. And, I'm like, all right, Halloween 3, here we go. I was so into the movie at the point, I'm like, wait, I forgot this was Halloween, but it doesn't feel like it, but it's cool. I liked it. I wasn't really a hater of it, but then when I look at the big picture of the franchise, I'm like, nothing to do with Michael Myers, but I still enjoy this movie as a standalone sequel. I think it's fantastic. And I wish more people would give this a chance. I really wish people, like all those naysayers for this movie, would just be like, you know what? Let me watch this one more time. Let me give it another shot. And I really think they'll be pleasantly surprised if they just ignore the Halloween 3 title and just call it Season of the Witch. This is such a fun time,
Yeah,
and like I said, it's a blast and
that's
a
what Tess said.
very
Yeah, she said I think if the title was anything else, it would have done so much better. Exactly.
yeah, and it's the same team. It's the same people that made 1, 2, and 3. It's all the same people.
Right.
So it's and even though it wasn't directed by John Carpenter, directed by Tommy Lee Wallace, it has that John Carpenter feel to it.
Yeah.
It feels like a John Carpenter movie.
Yeah, because he directed it. It's awesome, dude. That movie, and that was the movie that I watched with that. Like when you said when they killed the kid, I was like, oh my god, we're not safe anymore. Like kids are not even protected.
Yep. But Tom Atkins in this is so funny as Dr. Chalice.
Yeah.
I mean,
just a scumbag, dude.
He is a scumbag, picking up younger women and just like drinking on the job. Like this guy's a medical professional. What are we doing here? But yeah, and I like how you get a cameo from Nancy Loomis from the first movie who played Annie, who looks like she aged 25 years in a span of 4 years.
And you get Dick Warlock as one of the robots.
Yeah, from Michael Halloween 2, Dick Warlock.
Yeah, from Halloween 2.
And then you got Laurie Strode. Jamie Lee Curtis does have a small cameo in this as a voice. She's the voice of the PA system over the town. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
If when they're in the town of Santa Rosa or Santa Mira, is it Santa Mira or Santa Rosa? I forget.
I think it's Santa Mira.
Santa Mira, yeah. So when they're in the town and like there's a curfew, you can hear the voice saying it's 7 o'clock. It's 7 o'clock. That's Jamie Lee Curtis.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, and obviously that song that sticks with you. 3 more days till Halloween. That gets played throughout the movie.
Yeah,
and just a do 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 do, and then just yeah. So that'll get stuck with you too. But yeah, I'm not. I think we both said what we needed to about this movie. But yeah, Halloween 3, go watch it.
Yeah, 4K Tent Revival says those robots crushing skulls is legit. Yes.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is when I grew up like a Halloween fan. Like we had groups. You had like the Nightmare on Elm Street fans, the Friday the 13th fans, and the Halloween fans. So like we all kind of like boycotted Halloween 3. And honestly, I have seen a resurgence of that movie since these Scream Factory releases because everybody is starting to be like, okay, this is dumb to dislike a movie just because Michael's not in it. The movie benefits from Michael not being in it, to be honest with you, because it's its own story. And I think if it was named Season of the Witch, it would be in a lot of people's top 10. It's undeniable a great Halloween film. I'm not talking about like the franchise, I'm talking about the holiday. It's a great Halloween watch for sure. I watch it every Halloween.
How do you think it would have done if it took place in Haddonfield, if it was still Haddonfield related, if it was still in that Michael Myers universe? How do you think the movie would have done?
I think it would have done good. I mean, there's a rumor that Halloween ends when there's a part where like at the end where it shows the mask and they like zoom in on it. There was a silver shamrock, which explain, which I thought, that would be cool to kind of like tie them all together. I don't know, man. I think it goes back to Friday the 13th, Part 5. I love that movie.
That's my favorite one.
I get blasted all the time for loving it because it's not got Jason in it. It's not got Jason in it. My whole thing you can watch, he's not in, you get Jason kind of in 1 at the end and you get 2, 3, and 4 with him. So 5 kind of gives you that little break with Roy. It's a fun story. And then when he comes back at 6, I love 5, man. 5's in my top of my list too. But I think that just because people are hell-bent on seeing Jason, they're hell-bent on seeing Michael, they're not going to give those movies a chance. And it's a shame because they're both great.
I love Part 5 because it goes back to being a whodunit slasher.
Right.
It makes you think it's Jason, but you don't see the actual. All you see is the hands doing things, like off-screen kills. But it's a really cool whodunit.
There's some awesome girls in it. Again, I learned a lot from that movie as a child.
Deborah Voorhees, yes.
Mm-hmm. Dude, and the mom. Dude, the one that's making stew.
Oh, Ethel, right? Is her name
Ethel
or something?
Bro, God, she's so funny, man. She reminds me of my grandma. I love Part 5.
You hear me, Junior?
I'm not gonna repeat some of the things she says, but I laugh every time I watch it.
Yeah.
So my number 3, again, Craig just talked about it, and that's Killer Clowns from Outer Space. As far as 4Ks, I first watched this on Universal Network. I'm not going to spend a lot of time because Craig covered everything. I first watched this on the USA Network back in the day, and this came on after Raw when I was like 98 or some shit. And This, in my opinion, is the best transfer that I have ever seen Scream Factory do. And if I was, which I'm going to make a, 5 4K horror movies you need in your collection, this will be on that list. You can get this for like $18 on Amazon. And in my opinion, this is the best transfer I have ever seen for this film. It has never looked this good ever. I've had the VHS, the DVD, the Blu-ray. It is so crisp throughout. Again, you're going to need I have an OLED TV and a nice player, so that may, play some attributes to it. But it just looks good, man. Killer Clowns in the past kind of had dull colors and it kind of had some dull, moments. And it matches the color of this slipcover that makes it. It's like it's very bright and vibrant and just looks really good. So I love Killer Clowns. This is my number 3. The first horror movie I ever showed my stepdaughters, and all the clowns are coming to Scarefest this year, and they're doing a photo op and makeup. So me and my wife and the girls are gonna get to meet the clowns and do a photo op. And
That is so cool.
And the same with Jonathan Breck. He's dressing up as the creeper. So, see, I missed a couple of comments here. I absolutely love this movie so much. I agree, me too. And everyone needs that movie in their collection. Yeah, Killer Clowns is a must. I pretty much all of these are very user friendly. If you've never watched any of them and you pick them up, I think you'd enjoy them.
Oh yeah. That's a good one for Scream Factory to get. Now, I will say with that Killer Clowns, they were kind of lacking in the features. Show the back if you can. It didn't have that many features, unfortunately.
No.
Arrow had a release back in 2017 that was phenomenal. Phenomenal. Had a lot of features, and even though this release is good, I feel like Arrow eventually is going to release a 4K over in the UK, probably, which I will be importing if that happens.
Yeah. Plus, didn't Arrow do that really cool steelbook a couple years ago that had like the slip case over it? And
Yep, I have one in my collection.
That's an awesome release.
Yep. Limited to 300 with that slipcase.
300, and you have one?
And me and Tommy have one each.
Oh, wow.
I actually sold my first one to Tommy, and then like a year later, I had seller's remorse. I'm like, I got to get that back in my collection. So I ended up having to go eBay like triple times of what I sold it for.
Yeah, dude, that's a good one. I've always won that one. That's a nice one.
Yep. All right, my number 2, Chris, I think you're going to be very pleased with my pick for number 2. This is an essential movie that everybody should have in their collection. It is the number 1 of a long-running franchise. You could call this the Godfather of the slasher movies, what have you, and that is 1978's Halloween. Yeah, Chris, I know this is one of your favorite horror movie, and if not, it's definitely in my top 3 for horror.
Yeah.
With Scream and Jaws, it's always like a rotating 3 between these ones. But yeah, I mean, what can I not say that's already been said about Halloween? I mean, it's a slasher at the end of the day. It's very low budget for its time, but effective, but absolutely effective. And then they didn't rely on gore for this movie. It was they relied more on the creepy atmosphere and some of the jump scares and everything like that. But yeah, John Carpenter and Deborah Hill, man, they just know how to make a movie, and they do it effectively for what they had. And for them to get Donald Pleasance in this, I know that probably helped, a big impact too. But just the simple storyline of an escape killer stalks a teenage girl. That's kind of what it comes down to. But I always love how, like, Tommy Doyle calls him the boogeyman. Like Tommy thinks he's the boogeyman. Really, he's just a guy returning home. But I love the connection of him being the boogeyman. That's what the kids and all the people in the town think he is, even though he's just he's a 21-year-old escaped murderer coming back home. But very early appearance of Jamie Lee Curtis. This really jump-started her career. Thanks to John Carpenter for casting her, and she went on, had a great career. Donald Pleasance went on and did a few more things. This was kind of like at the peak of Donald Pleasance's career. He did a lot of stuff in the '60s and stuff like that. But he was very good in this as well as Dr. Loomis. But yeah, great cast. There were 3 girls. You got Annie, Nancy, and Lori. I mean, Annie, Linda, and Lori. Just that trio right there. PJ Souls, Nancy Loomis, Jamie Lee Curtis. What a trio. But always loved that the ending of the movie. It's always been so effective to me when Jamie Lee Curtis is banging on the door. Tommy, open up! Yeah. Oh my God. But when I first saw it, my heart was racing. Like, oh my God, just open the door. Get her in.
Dude,
But
that would be a good spoof cover. Have somebody dress up like a Reese's cup and you trying to get in Tommy's house.
Tommy, that would be hilarious.
Like a
Just use
Halloween
the
edition.
use the audio. Use the audio of Jamie Lee Curtis over it.
Yeah.
I'll have to look into that. That'd be funny.
They're trying to break me on keto, like a Reese's cup guy like chasing you or some shit.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll say, if you know the cinematographer of this movie, it's Dean Cundy. Dean Cundy did the first 3 Halloweens. He also did Jurassic Park,
Mhm.
with Steven Spielberg. So he had a very lengthy career as well,
Yeah.
being a cinematographer. But this is the actual way, and Dean Cundy supervised this whole transfer. The way that this movie looks on 4K is how it was originally meant to be looked in the theaters. How Dean Cundy
Mhm.
shot this movie is how it was meant to be looked. So the
Right.
4K transfer is the way this movie is meant to be seen.
Yeah.
Yep. So if don't worry about any other Blu-ray releases. This is the edition to watch because it's the original vision of the cinematographer.
Right.
So I remember like the earlier Blu-rays, they would make and obviously the movie was filmed in California. It's supposed to be Illinois, Haddonfield, but they filmed it in like Los Angeles, California, like the Pasadena. So
Right.
you're not going to get like a lot of fall out there. So they had to like use prop leaves and they had to keep raking them up after every scene and use fans to blow them around. And in certain scenes, you can actually see palm trees in the background. When
Yeah.
Tommy and Laurie are walking down the street, you see a palm tree right in the background.
It does not feel like fall at any point in that
No.
movie.
So like some of the earlier Blu-ray releases, like with like the color pattern on it, like they made the grass so green. I'm like, it's not supposed to look like that. It's not supposed to look like summertime. Whereas when Dean Cundy went back to do the movie, he actually makes it look fall. Like the color in the 4K is so different than what the Blu-rays made you think the movie looked like. So I'll say it again. Yeah, this is the true way to watch the movie on 4K. So yeah, Halloween.
Great pick, my friend. I mean, how do you follow that? Well, let me tell you how I'm going to follow it. So when I have talked about this weekend a lot. I had a weekend where I went to my cousin's house. He lived with my grandparents, and my papa gave us $10, and we rented 5 horror movies. And during that weekend, he introduced me to Metallica. He introduced me to a lot of stuff I hadn't seen before. And when the last movie we watched was Halloween. Well, when I got home, I went next door to my friend's house, and I was like, dude, I just had this like horror movie like training, where I saw these awesome movies. And he's like, dude, I got 2 more to show you. And we watched Evil Dead 2 and we watched Army of Darkness.
Oh yeah.
This was, before I get to number 1, this was the number 1 for me for years. It's obviously one of my favorite horror movies of all time, but it's also all of the stuff that comes with this. I mean, I'm going to just flip this over so you can see all the bonus features that comes on this. You get all kinds of documentaries. You get medieval times, the making of Army of Darkness, which is like over an hour long. You get obviously it's a 4K scan of the original camera negative for the theatrical cut, and the Blu-ray is the same. You get the director's cut Blu-ray, and you get the international's cut for this. I love when they add all these different cuts. I'm the kind of person that when I go to watch these movies, I will put this in and watch every. I know that sounds weird, but I will watch every version. I did that with the Dawn of the Dead Second Sight edition. Drove Test crazy. I watched every edition in one day, and I did the same with this. I stand by this. This is the Blu-ray for this was when like Scream Factory was like on The Price is Right, climbing the little Yodelay guy. They were at the top of the hill with this release. This was the one that like turned so many people onto them. Even people that I knew that didn't collect physical media was buying the Blu-ray release for this just because it was such a popular, cult classic of movie. And this movie was like a flood, like brought so many people to Scream Factory at the time. Really bummed Bruce Campbell was going to be at Scarefest this year, but I was going to, get the chance to meet him. He announced he had cancer, so Godspeed to him, and I hope he gets a speedy recovery. But Army of Darkness and Evil Dead 2 are 2 of my favorite horror movies of all time. Evil Dead 2 has always been on my Scream Factory wish list that they would make it. I'm kind of giving up hope on that, but we did get Army of Darkness, and they went all out for it. It's a great release, and that's number 2 on my list.
Great pick. That was actually the first in the franchise I've watched myself when I started with horror. Yeah, I saw it on the Sci-Fi Channel. I watched it with my dad. I didn't know it was a part three. But I'm like,
Right.
oh, this is kind of funny. It had like some comedy elements into it. But yeah, I found out later, yeah, it was Evil Dead 3. Do you think it would actually have been made more sense if they called it the Medieval Dead? They could have called it that.
Probably because it was
Yeah.
confusing. It was confusing to me because I just recently did my Evil Dead ranking and I had the original toward the bottom because I watched Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness, fell in love with, and thought they were great. And then I watched Evil Dead 1 like 10 years later, and I was like, why what the hell is Evil Dead 1 and 2 and essentially the remake are all three the same movie in a way. Like it's just the same story, but they've told it in three different ways. And I always just preferred Evil Dead 2. I don't have those nostalgic, like warm feelings for Evil Dead the way that some people do. I always preferred Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness is like a back to back, because the original doesn't really fit with it because when you watch the original, it almost makes you think that Bruce Campbell dies at the end because it's just a very
Mhm.
bleak, ending. But I think if they had named it Evil Dead 3 or Medieval Dead, it would have made more sense for sure.
Gotcha. Yeah, but that's Sam Raimi at his best, man. Like
Yeah.
that's a really good pick, a good movie for him, especially early '90s.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, okay. So my number one pick, and this has always been my number one since I started making my Scream Factory list. It's never changed from the top position. Um, for me, this has a Blu-ray and a 4K, but I actually went with the Blu-ray artwork because it's just the better artwork of the two. This came out in the mid '80s, I would say, early to mid '80s, 1984. It was boycotted by a lot of parents due to the subject matter in the movie.
Right, it is.
It is a slasher movie. It's every bit of a slasher movie, and it centers around Christmas, and that is Silent Night, Deadly Night. Take a look at that artwork. That is just
Beautiful.
beautiful, beautiful art. I actually have this poster, and I got it signed by the guy that plays Billy, which is cool. I met him a couple years ago at Monster Mania, and I was like the only person in this line to go see him. So we got to talk a little bit. I asked him, it was back in like 2022 when I met him. And I said, "Hey, is this movie going to get a 4K?" And he goes, "What's that?" He didn't even know what it was. But yeah, man, this movie, it's kind of like a different take on a slasher because you follow the killer the whole movie. It's not like a whodunit slasher. I mean, it's just the character of Billy, the main character. You watch from start to finish how he descends into madness from
Right.
being a little kid watching his parents get killed by the guy that robs the store in a Santa Claus costume. He watches mom and dad get slaughtered, and grows up in an orphanage run by nuns, and he gets abused as he grows up. And then just it cuts to like as he's 18 years old. He's fit, he's jacked, and he's working at a toy store. And one of his jobs that they ask him to do is to play Santa Claus in the store to take pictures with the kids. And as soon as he puts that Santa Claus costume on and looks in the mirror, you can see things change. Like he's reverting back to that psychotic memory of what happened to him. And I mean, he just from there. I mean, you know what's going to happen. He snaps, goes on a murder spree. I mean, that's
Right.
pretty much how you can sum up Silent Night, Deadly Night. But yeah, I will say that the reason I picked the Blu-ray, one, the artwork, yeah, for sure, beats the poster art no matter what. But the 4K, they didn't do the unrated version in 4K. It's only the Blu-ray that has the unrated version. I don't know why they couldn't do the unrated in 4K. I never really got the story on that.
A lot of them do that for some reason.
Yeah. So,
Law-abiding citizen did that with that release.
yep, that's how I showed Tommy that movie, just the
Yeah.
Blu-ray only. Yep.
And
But
the Devil's Rejects last year was the same way.
Yep. Um, but with this movie, if you watch the old, and Anchor Bay had the original release for Blu-ray at one point, and then Scream Factory got it. When you watch the unrated version, you can tell that they had to like rip it from an old VHS copy or something because the movie switches from like being so crystal clear to like
Beta.
really crappy,
Yeah.
like bad transfer. I'm like, what is this? But it's only for like a few seconds here and there. It's like extra stuff. It's stuff that was cut from the movie in the '80s because it wouldn't get an NC-17 rating, and
Right.
they had to cut like a few frames out of extra blood and gore just to like keep it an R rating. But yeah, now that they put that footage back in, they couldn't clean it up. They couldn't like transfer it to like 1080p or 4K. It's kind of like VHS quality.
Right.
But yeah, man, this is one of those ones I have to watch every Christmas time because it's just Christmas is my favorite holiday next to Halloween, and slashers are my favorite category of horror. And when you combine the both, slashers and Christmas. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. And this is another one that I gave the case the case artwork for, or the case coloring. So just like Killer Clowns, I kind of went with the theme with the color, and I put a purple case on this one.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
That looks
So
like
I thought it
Kool-Aid,
went
bro.
really
I
good.
like it.
Yeah. So yeah, to this day, even though we got a 4K, this is my favorite collector's edition. This will always hold a place in my collection. And I'm very thankful to Scream Factory to get this to us. This is one of those ones that had it the first time they did a figure. No, second time they did a figure. They did a Child's Play figure back in the day, but they did a Billy figure, NECA figure with this, and yeah, I ended up buying that as well. So yeah, this will always be my favorite Scream Factory. Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Funny story about that before I show my number one is me and Tess had only been dating probably like maybe 2 weeks. I hadn't really told her about my movie collection at the time because I was living at my parents' and I had it all put up. And when she saw it, she saw that I had all these Scream Factories and she started to kind of like ask about it. The first thing she ever bought me was the Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Awesome.
For my birthday. And then for Christmas a couple years ago, she got me the 4K with the book.
Awesome.
So yeah. All righty. Well, I mean, there's no point in getting any sort of like drum roll or what my number one is. I mean, it's Halloween.
Great pick.
I mean, listen. This has been my favorite movie, not even horror movie, my favorite movie. This is my favorite movie, my favorite horror movie of all time since I was 12 years old. I mean, that's 30 years ago. I've had 30 years I've had this movie in my life. I mean, it's perfect. I mean, I have told the story somewhat, but I'll just brush stroke it. When I was about 7 on Halloween night, me and my cousin was trick-or-treating, and there was a dummy up on this like electrical pole. We were going from house to house trick-or-treating, and she dared me to kick it. And I was like, I'm not going to kick it. And she's like, kick it, you pussy. And I was like, okay. So I kicked it. My dad was like, we were on a one-way street. It's like trick-or-treat, man. Like across the street, everybody's doing trick-or-treat, or, candy. So I kicked this dummy. And I instantly realized, like, this didn't feel like I was kicking leaves. She goes, back in the day, people would get like blue jeans, tie them together, and then stick the leaves. So I walk about 25 feet and I'm walking up these steps and I turn and this man is standing there that I just kicked. And I didn't know who he was. I had never seen this mask before. It was this mask though. So at the time my mom worked for the county attorney. So I go home the whole night. This guy's kind of like trailing me a little bit, just messing with me. So where we lived, sometimes the police or the judge would call my mom and she'd have to go down to the courthouse and sign a warrant or whatever. Well, that night, our sheriff in our town got shot and killed.
Mm.
And so me being 6, I was like, well, Mom, I know who did it. It was this guy. But I didn't know who this guy was. I had never, I was sheltered from this world. Never seen Michael Myers, never seen Halloween, never seen a horror movie at the time. And so for years, I would always say it was, this guy I saw at Halloween that did it, whatever. Obviously it wasn't, but fast forward to 2000, or fast forward like 1996, when I'm watching this for the first time, I'm at this epic weekend at my cousin's. My mom and dad are on their way to get me, and I see, and I'm like, oh my God, like I've seen this guy before. Like, I already had all this story kind of like built up of what happened before even knowing this existed. And so, I can hear my mom and dad come up the driveway. He shoots him the 6 times. Is this the boogeyman? As a matter of fact, that was. And he goes over and looks, and then he's gone. And I was like, what the fuck, man? Like, and as my mom is walking in, the music's hitting. And from that moment on, I had kind of like dabbled into horror movies. And I had, I had seen a few that I liked, Child's Play, Nightmare on Elm Street. If this movie is what made all of this happen for me, like this was the one that like ignited the fire in me. The music, the killer, the no explanation. And another really important thing is I never knew there was a sequel to this up until I was in high school. So we're talking like 5 years that I thought this was the only movie in this franchise, and that Michael Myers was this. He had just gotten up and walked away. Which, I mean, how badass! I'm so grateful we got all these Halloween movies. But imagine if this was it. Imagine if this was the only Michael Myers, and the last image we had of him was just him walking away. So I'm making a video right now called 2025, my favorite year for physical media releases, and people may be confused why it's not this year. Well, we've always had some cool Halloween releases over the years. We've had, the DVD case that came with and then you had the VHS that came with the snow globe. We had the really cool DVD case with the mask. We had the first Blu-ray that Screen Factory did, which looked great. We had the Lionsgate media book that looked great, the Digibook. And then this is the best this movie is ever going to look, unless they do like a 19 or 16K. Looks great. Like Craig said, it does a great job of manipulating your mind. If you've seen this movie 1,000 times, it manipulates your mind and makes you feel like you're watching a fall movie. He does a good job of hiding the greens. It's perfect, man. It's a perfect movie. It's the simplest movie with the greatest soundtrack maybe ever. And the soundtrack is simple. The John Carpenter score is simple. It just works, man. It just works.
Mm-hmm.
So for my favorite physical media company or boutique label to release my favorite movie, I mean, it's great.
Yeah, that's a great pick, and that's a great list too.
Yeah,
that's a really good list. That's a list that people should anyone starting their horror collection should probably pull from that list.
Yeah, Halloween's a must have. I mean,
one thing I forgot to mention on my list was that the reason I got into Halloween is because of Scream. Scream was that one movie that got me into horror when I was a kid. I was 8 years old when I watched Scream, and I used to watch it over and over again. Like that was, the one that got me into horror. Besides Jaws, dude, I would consider Jaws horror as well. But I was always wondering, I'm like, what's that movie they're watching at Stu's house? What's that movie at the party? What is this? Right. And then, they never say in the movie they're watching Halloween. They never say it. But then as I've watched, growing up watching the Sci-Fi Channel, watching HBO, whatever, and then I see the trailer, like a TV commercial for Halloween, and I see a part from I'm like, oh my God, that's the movie from Scream that they're watching. So then I ended up watching that on TV, and then I watched it on it was edited on the Sci-Fi Channel, but as soon as I watched it, I watched 1, 2, and 3 back to back. So I saw the first 3 ever in the same night. And I'm like, I got to go out and buy the VHS for this. So I did. Yeah, I went to Walmart and bought the VHS.
Right.
I'd have my mom buy it for me, but yeah, that's what got me into it.
I remember hunting the VHSs down at Suncoast. I mean, I talk about how much I think I paid $45 just for 4 and 5. Just for
wow.
I love 4 and 5, but yeah, just for the VHSs, man.
Awesome. Yeah, and like you said, dude, that is a movie that kind of gets everyone in. It gets everyone into the genre.
Great combo with the purple K, says 4K Tent Revival. Thank you. Mission Media says just jumped in. Gonna watch from the beginning. Any cat piss slip stories?
Oh, you gotta tell the latest one.
God, dude, man, yeah. Actually, if you haven't watched the update video, I picked up Tales from the Hood. I've had to kind of rebuy back some of these because of you can't really see it, but right above me there was all this was just covered in water. But I bought Tales from the Hood, and I'm like there is my front door, right there. And so my wife works over here. So as I was walking in and opening the box, within a half a second, Tess goes, "What's that smell?" And I was like, oh my, and I mean, just just opening it just a little bit, the smell had just wafted into the house, bro. It was almost like somebody was smoking a Winston Cat Piss 100 or something. It just fucking flooded the whole house. So I run around back, and I'm like, there's no way. Because, I mean, I paid $65 for this Blu-ray with the slipcover. And I went around back, and I took it off, and literally the inside of the case was just brown. I don't know if the cat had kidney problems, but the inside of the case was just brown. And so I immediately messaged the seller and sent pictures. And within like a minute, he sent me a refund, a full refund. And I had forgotten years ago, I had the slipcover, and I had bought a slipcover that was autographed by the cast, some of the cast. And so I had I had forgotten about it. But yeah, I mean, dude, like there's a difference in like the one that I had that was Batman v Superman. That was cat piss. This was like,
that was the one.
this cat piss, this motherfucker was on dialysis or something, dude. Because I mean, the box wasn't even completely opened yet. But and she goes, "What's that smell?" I mean, she's 20 feet away from me. And so, yeah, listen, I'm going to be honest with you, dude. I've had some really, where's the other one that this happened with? This one. I just got this in. And it's kind of hard to see on the camera here, but this one's got some discoloration too. Tess did some Febreze. This had some, I don't know if it was cat piss, if it was maybe gerbil piss. It was something, dude, because it was, again, bad. So listen, every time I buy a movie or sell a movie, or I'm like, hey, man, does this come from a pet-free home? And I just forgot to ask. No, man, that motherfucker, that cat was on dialysis. That piss was horrible. I mean, it was so bad. Great Halloween story. Thank you, man. That was my favorite Halloween. Listen, to this day, I have Halloween on my playlist when I go for my walks or my runs. It's just, I wouldn't even be doing this live stream if it wasn't for Halloween. That's what kind of fuels all this for me. She said they sent it in a nice plastic cover. Yes, they did. Yes, that's correct. They sent it in one of these. And that's what it was. I literally went like this because I've gotten to be where I smell everything. And it was like, whoo. And it was bad, man. Really bad.
We appreciate the stories, though. That's great.
Yeah. People think I'm lying about that shit, dude, but I'm not joking. That cat needed some water. It was fucking.
That's awesome.
But you know, we're slipcover guys, and I mean, ever since then, I'll buy a movie, and like I'll be walking out of Walmart with it, and I'll be like, and people will be like, but I've just gotten used to it. I just smell everything.
That's awesome. Speaking of slips and Scream Factory, I can kind of give them they're the reason why I'm obsessed with slipcovers. And when I first got into Scream Factory, like I said, it was Halloween 2 and 3 that got me into slips. And then I didn't buy any for a couple of years. I was still away at college doing my bachelor's degree. And then I came home for summer break, and I'm like, you know what? Let me buy a couple more of these Scream Factories. So I ended up buying 2 at the same time. I bought Sleepaway Camp, which came with a slip, which was great. And then I ended up buying Terror Train with it. And I knew Terror Train would come with that slipcover because I saw it on other people's YouTube videos and stuff. I'm like, all right, so here we go. Yeah, we're going to get the 2 new slips coming in to match my Halloweens. And then I opened the Amazon package. One had a slip and one didn't. Ooh. And Terror Train didn't have that slip. It was like a knife in my heart. That hurt. I'm like,
right.
What am I going to do now? Like, it's not going to look right at all. So like, that's the whole reason. And then I did, like, years later, I hunted down a slip on a Facebook group and got a slip. And somebody felt bad enough to send it to me for free. I explained my story in the post. I was like, yeah, I ordered and came without a slip. I was devastated. And I'm like, and this guy messaged me. He's like, hey, I got a slip. I'll send it to you for free. What's the address? And this guy just reached out and sent it to me. I'm like, wow, you even have to buy it. But yeah, that's the whole reason I'm obsessed with slipcovers now, is because of that incident of not coming from Amazon. And I remember my buddy Baird, who in college, you've seen from my videos with Tommy Baird. So he's a Scream Factory guy as well. He ordered the Howling with the slip, and his came with the slip the same day that my Terror Train didn't come with the slip. And I was so envious of him, like, son of a bitch. So yeah, I credit Scream Factory and Terror Train being the reason that I'm obsessed with slipcovers now.
Yeah, for me it was the same. I used to throw the slipcovers away on DVDs. I've said this openly. I used to just.
I didn't care about them either.
Yeah. When I got They Live, that was every Scream Factory I had bought in Hastings. And I had recognized the slip, but it was like, what made it cool is when you took the slip out, they gave you the alternate artwork. And that made it to me like, oh, this is different, because on the DVDs, the slip would match the artwork inside of the DVD. But Scream Factory was like, oh man, you get reverse artwork. So you can see both. So you can see like, the newly commissioned artwork with the old poster. And so I think They Live was the one for me that it took me the longest to find the slip, and I ended up getting it from Trini.
Awesome.
But that's whenever I went full bore, like slip crazy. I paid $80 just for the old Trick or Treat slip before it had the Scream Factory, before it had the Best Buy edition. It was just like the old poster art with the slip, and I think Sam might have been embossed or something.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Yep.
I still, for some reason, with the water damage, I do like steelbooks just because they're more durable. But I always, when it comes to Scream Factory, prefer the slipcovers. It's just like I don't know what it is, man. It just brings back. There is nothing that's ever going to replace those Blu-ray days of how fun it was when they got announced.
I agree. I mean, I was always looking forward to the first of the month. At first of the month, they'd always announce it, and of course, Comic-Con. That was a big thing for them, releasing or announcing the titles for the rest of that year, from July all the way through December. So that was that was a big deal.
When the Hammer titles started, which I don't mind the Hammer movies, but when the Hammer titles started getting announced over and over again, thank you, babe. That's whenever I was like, oh man, what are we doing here? Let's get some.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. Scream Factory now. I mean, as much as I still will always cherish the company and everything they put out for us. I mean, for a while they were at the top of the game with their releases, like you said. It kind of seems like they're just triple dipping at this point with what they have in their catalog. And it's just, they're doing so many steelbooks now. It's just like, I feel like that's the new norm for them. It's just steelbook after steelbook. And I won't buy it unless it gets a slipcover version. That's just how I am. But if you notice, this past month, we didn't get a Scream Factory announcement. It was only Shout Select.
Yeah, and now it seems like they're doing the steelbooks before they're doing the slips, which is a weird,
Shout Select's definitely doing that. Yeah, they did that for a couple, like the Gray.
And then Slither, the Slither got a steelbook before I think Slither's actually already out before the slip did. Agent Persuasion says, "What's up, fellas? What's up?" I mean, honestly, when I first started doing YouTubes back in 2008, I was doing it for wrestling physical media, and then when I switched over to Blu-rays, it seemed like in that little window of time from like 2014 to like 2018, everybody in the community collected Scream Factories. And it feels like, I mean, obviously now for me, I still love Scream Factory. I got Day of the Dead. I just feel like Arrow has kind of gotten the more exciting releases with like Ninja Turtles and Falling Down and Mortal Kombat and the and the Texas Chainsaw Massacres and Jason's and stuff.
Yep. And the thing is that like Cliff McMillan, who used to be one of the co-runners of Scream Factory, he's now at Arrow. He went over to Arrow about 2 years ago. So it's almost like he's bringing some of the titles with him, because like they did a Carrie release under him, like they
Trick or Treat.
Anything that's
how do you lose that?
I don't know. I think it all comes
how do you
down
let
to
Trick
money.
or Treat go? Yeah,
but Arrow did a great job with that as well. So it's cool to have the same guy working on the next releases, even though they're going from Blu-ray to 4K. So it's really cool, and he's really good with getting the license for these movies. Like he must be one of the most persuasive dudes out there.
Ever.
To get these studios to say, oh yeah, okay, you can have Ninja Turtles. How he got Ninja Turtles, I don't know how he did that.
Yeah, persuasive or persistent or both. Because I was like I said, I'm making that video. It was 2025 the best year for physical media. I think it might be, man. And I was the Texas Chainsaw Massacres, the remake in the beginning, are a part of that. They had those horrible Blu-ray editions forever. They had better DVD editions, really. You got those last year on 4K. Nice Arrow editions. I'm pretty sure Jason Goes to Hell and Jason X was last year as well from Arrow. Then you got the Nightmare on Elm Street 4K set. You got the Ninja Turtles box set. You had Hitcher. I mean, you had so many great releases come out last year. And I was just sitting there thinking, like, I don't have any Scream Factories to talk about, really. It's wild, man.
Yeah, Arrow. I think at this point in the boutique label, I think Arrow's at the top of their game. Yeah, just
Yeah,
based on
Arrow and
titles.
Second Sight.
Just based on titles alone, I think Arrow definitely has the better catalog now that's coming out. Um, and I'm not much into the big chunky box sets. I'd rather just have an Arrow slipcover to be honest. But like, um, I'll take a box set if that's the only option. But I prefer the Arrow slipcovers.
Yeah, yeah, like
But
this, like the just the basic, because they're still
yeah,
pretty chunky.
yeah, it's got the thicker case like the UK
Yeah,
Blu-rays get,
they feel
which is
quality
fine.
to me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Um, but yeah, like Scream Factory, I'll still love them, but like I'm not really impressed with what they're doing now. Like I said, it's just a lot of you can call them triple dip factory if you want.
Hmm.
I don't
Yeah,
like to throw shade. I don't like to throw shade at them guys because I love them for what they did, and they really kind of got me into the collecting of horror Blu-rays.
yeah. I don't want them
Um,
to go anywhere. I just wish they would go back to, you know, I don't know how they used to be.
yeah, but
4K Tent Revival says Nightcrawler getting that shot select came in clutch because that steelbook is hideous. I haven't seen either, but that is a great
yeah,
movie.
I love Nick Crawler. It's a great movie. Yeah, and I think the Flintstones will probably get a slipcover in like 6 months. That's why I didn't buy the
I hope
steelbook
so. I still prefer slips to steels for sure.
all day.
When you see them and they're drenched in water though, and you can just wipe the steelbooks off, you're like, well, maybe I'll go with the steelbooks.
Yep, yep. I'll tell you what though,
uh,
who's definitely been picking up big in the boutique game is Kino. Kino's been killing
oh
it with
yeah,
their releases. I'm
yeah,
loving what they're putting out. A lot of titles that I've wanted to come to Blu-ray 4K in a long time. Yes, Terror Train. Yep, there it
yeah,
is. The one that started it all
yeah.
for my slips.
Yeah, and they
Yep.
they put out quality. You don't really have to worry. I mean, you may not get a ton of bonus features, but you're going to get a quality. Which that one's got all kinds of like uh whatever with it. Like people complain. I thought the transfer was solid. I didn't see anything.
I haven't watched the new 4K yet, but I'll check it out eventually.
Let's see here. Cold Train says, unfortunately, I dropped Stream Factory a long time ago. 4K turned me off from a lot of companies. Yeah, the 4Ks from Screen Factory. I mean, Alligator was sick. Alligator was a really solid transfer. Child's Play 2 was really solid. God, there's been a lot of good ones. Killer Clowns, Army of Darkness. He says I still have boxes of slips. Tess says I'm still convinced Screen Factory is going out of business. You were saying that last year. I don't know. I hope not. I definitely hope not.
They're definitely under new ownership though, for sure. Just by the way they sold their site to Groove, it looks like well Groove's doing their distribution now, but like they don't do announcements anymore like they used to. Like they don't do the Comic Con anymore. Unfortunately, they still like do the announcements on the Facebook page, but like it's not the
What is
same
coming
people.
out? What's their big release this year? Is it just Day of the Dead and that's it?
Yeah, I think that was like I think that was like the top, and that was it. That was like the main thing that they were
Yeah.
going to do this year.
Arguably one of the most controversial releases I ever remember. Which I've seen Day of the Dead 1,000 times. I didn't even notice it. I didn't notice any issues. So
Yeah, I'm not gonna really complain about it. I mean, it's a nice
yeah.
release. It's one of
Beautiful.
those big chunky boxes,
Yeah.
but
Cool
I'm sure
release.
I'm sure the transfer looks nice.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I've said before, like I really went all in with 4K, about nice player, OLED TV, and so which you kind of have to. That's where I kind of lean a little bit more toward Blu-ray being more user friendly because you can just go to Walmart and get an Xbox and a TV, and you're good to go. 4K's got so many different specs you got to keep up with, and just a little more difficult. I think that Blu-ray
Yeah.
was a little more fun, easy, and
Yeah.
cheaper for sure.
I have a Sony OLED TV, and I just watch my discs out of a PlayStation 5, and
Yeah.
they still look great. I don't know
Yeah.
how different they would look in a regular 4K player. Maybe a little bit better.
Well, the only thing is PlayStations don't support Dolby Vision, but that really doesn't affect most of the stuff we watch because Dolby Vision. So this is the thing, like Dolby Vision's darker. I'm more of a fan of the HDR brighter.
Me too.
I prefer the bright. I don't. Dolby Vision's supposed to be more like a cinema experience, whereas HDR to me is brighter. So I always like I spent way too much on my player, and I still prefer the just watching them in HDR, which most of these are in HDR.
What do you have?
Yeah.
Panasonic?
I have a Panasonic UB820, the 4K player, and then I have a LG LG expensive is what we'll call it. It was the most I've ever spent. I had a Sony TV before. I had a Sony OLED TV before. I actually had the same one that Culture Trini had because I used to message him whenever we would to see if his TV needed if our TVs needed updates because they would just completely go bonkers if they needed updates, and the everything in it went out, and so I went and called Best Buy and they were like, "Yeah, your warranty expired like 40 days ago." So that TV was like $2,800. I just lost it, and then I ended up spending $3,200 on the new TV. And then I got a bigger warranty. So basically, like the day before this one's out of warranty, I'm just going to smash and go get a new one. He told me to. He said, literally take it and drop it and bring it in and get another TV. So I'll just do that.
Yeah. Speaking of 4K, so I've had this Sony Bravia OLED for going on 2 years now, and I still have an LG C7 is what it was, an LG C7. And that's over at my parents' house. That's where I left it. So now my parents use that TV. And that looked fantastic too. But when I moved out, I'm like, you know what? Let me go with Sony. I think Sony is just kind of like the brand that I'm used to. And I'll tell you what, the Bravias look beautiful.
Yeah.
And they're very comparable to OG. I think Sony and OG are at the top of their game when it comes to 4K TVs. But like something about like the way the store displayed it compared to the LGs and like the way they showed the Sony TV just drew me right in.
Right.
Just drew me right into the Sony.
Plus, you have a PlayStation 5, so that they work well with each other.
Yeah, they pair very well. But the one thing I realized, like I'm watching a couple discs like throughout the months, and I just realized this a few days ago, and I'm like watching the Great Outdoors, and I'm like, this doesn't look much different than the Blu-ray, the Kino release, and I started like researching like why does my player play 4Ks looking like not 4K quality? So then I go to the settings in the TV, and then when you can see like your picture quality settings go from it was on 1080. I'm like, it's on 1080. I thought it has to be 4K. So I go to switch it to 2160, and it says your HDMI cable does not support 2160/HDR. I'm like, what the? And I'm looking at the PlayStation 5. I'm like, this is the cable that came with it. So
right.
I had to like look online. I'm like, what is different about this? And apparently you have to take the HDMI cable from the PlayStation and put it into HDMI port 4, because that's the one on the TV that supports 4K HDR. And I'm like, oh my God, I've had it set up the wrong way for 2 years now.
I did the same, dude. I did the same thing. I had a Sony OLED TV, and Trini walked me through how, because I was like, these look cool, but I don't really see the difference. And he walked me through like, because I was watching on an Xbox, and I had to go in there and like change all these settings and all this shit. And then finally I got to see. I had to go back and rewatch everything though, because I was like, oh, this is so great, but I really can't tell a difference. And now it's like,
yeah. So
I think Sony's are better, but I almost compare it to like, obviously the argument can be made that Android phones are better, but iPhones are easier for me to operate. And that's how the LG is. Like the LG out of the box, it was so much easier to just get everything set to Dolby Vision, HDR, boom, 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 bright, boom, boom, done, easy, one time, no issues. And yeah, I think that my Sony was a good TV, but this LG, man, I went to buy a Sony, and the guy was like demoing these, showing me these, and he was like, well, if I could upsell you to this, if you buy this and you get this sound bar, it's like the sound bar is like $1,000, but it takes 500 off the sound bar, and boom, boom, boom. And so I ended up getting the TV and the Dolby Atmos sound bar, and the sound bar actually was more of a, oh my God, than the video was, because I had been listening to just like basic, the TV for years. When I got the Dolby Atmos soundbar, I was like, oh my God, these movies sound incredible. Let's see. Remember the days you just plug the cord right in the cord? Yes, I do remember that. Whichever port is the eARC port is the Sony TVs are supposedly the one you want your 4K play. Yes, yeah. But that's where it gets tricky, because if you're a gamer and you want everything to be, you have to keep changing it out. So LG, you just plug that sumbitch in there and watch it. Boom. There ain't no special port. You don't have to have a birth certificate. You just plug it in and you're ready to roll. Yeah,
I might switch back to LG at some point. Like have this Bravia for a few more years and see See what else better comes out from LG. You know,
Do you?
because the TVs keep getting better.
Yeah. Well, when I called about my Sony, because I was like, obviously I wasn't trying to eat $2,500, so I called Sony, and legitimately when I called them, I was talking to customer support. They asked what was happening, and I said, well, me and my wife were wrapping Christmas presents, and I was streaming a YouTube Christmas, like fireplace, tree, and music. And they're, oh, you can't do that. That'll tear your TV up. I'm like, what? And they're like, you can't stream YouTube on there. It makes your TV overheat. And I was like, where the hell does it say that on the box? Because I always like if me and Tess are just in here cleaning or cooking dinner, I'll put on like, you know, it's Christmas time. There's Halloween, there's Christmas music on. If it's Halloween time, we have like a Halloween scene with pumpkins and noises.
Yeah.
I've done that for years. But that's what they tell me. That essentially that because I was streaming something off YouTube, it overheated my TV, and that's what crapped at the motherboard. Because we have a TV repairman around here, believe it or not, and he couldn't even fix it. So I basically had to drop off a $2,500 TV to Goodwill.
Damn.
Yeah. So
wow.
But man, this is a lot of fun. I mean, hopefully we can do this again. I had this idea to call like whatever this is, the 2-ton movie club. I told Craig that the other day because we're bigger guys, but Craig has some really cool ideas for future streams. So just be on the lookout. You know, make sure you go subscribe to Craig. He's posting videos now as well, and he had some cool ideas. Hopefully we can get together at some point during the summer and make some more videos because he had some cool ideas. But I really appreciate you doing this, man. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was great.
Yeah. Hopefully we can do some more. Hopefully we can get Tommy on here one night. And I think one of my favorite ones was the movies we would like to see on 4K.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to do that one too, we can definitely make that work.
With Craig on, it's definitely a plus size stream. Yeah. But me, I'm a big guy too. But thank you guys all so much for watching and everybody commenting. Again, I had this idea when I started YouTube again, and I thought there's no better person than Craig. Craig for me is just like the spokesperson. He is the mascot for Scream Factory.
Thank you.
And just a great person in the community. So thank you for being here. Like I said, if we decide to do another one of these, I'll make a thumbnail. I'll do it like I did before. I'll post it the night before to give you guys some time because it definitely worked. We definitely kept people in here. So thank you all so much for watching, and thank you, Craig, for being here, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, guys. Peace out. Y'all have a good night, and we will see you soon, hopefully.